Do you have a thing for Sasquatch?
Have you or a loved one been abducted by aliens?
Do you feel that your swimming pool has a kraken infestation?
We believe you.
My name's Daniela.
And I'm Katie.
Listen to It's Real, I Swear, a podcast about urban legends and mysteries of our world and the next.
You can find us on iTunes, Google, Spotify, and any other podcast platform, releasing episodes every Thursday.
Okay, we're whispering now. Oh, are we doing ASMR? No. Tabitha, don't do it. Don't.
Oh my God. I watched this documentary on that, and these people went to like an ASMR like spa.
What?
Yeah, they like sit next to you and like rub balloons on themselves.
No.
And
Stop.
then like
Oh my
turn
God.
the light
Oh
on and
my God.
off, like the clicking.
Stop.
Yeah, super weird.
Oh my God. I just
my
learned
jam.
about this.
Yeah.
I just learned about ASMR from my friend Stacie at work, who asked me if I knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just been in a meeting like 15 minutes before where I had learned what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking like a weird confluence of events.
Yeah.
And did you watch the Super Bowl? There was an ASMR commercial.
I watched
the Zoe,
parts of the Super
Kravitz
Bowl.
one.
No.
I can't do it. I can't do it. There was one thing in the commercial where she opens up a beer,
Yeah.
a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
And I actually did feel that like on the back of my neck.
Uh-huh.
And that was pleasant.
Yeah.
But everything else I've seen,
Yeah.
because I have misophonia, like Kent does too. Kent has it worse than I do. And it ties into that for me. So it's
Yeah.
not sexy at all.
I'm like that was like the sound of ice crunching, snow, people walking on snow, or people biting into like a popsicle. It physically hurts my teeth.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm biting into something cold. It hurts. It's no fun for me.
No, I don't like it at all. I think Tim likes it a
It's a
little bit.
no-go. No-go
Kent and I
zone.
can't do it.
Nopey nope.
Nope. Especially if it's like eating sounds. I can't do it.
I don't like that.
It causes rage. I can't do it.
Shut your fucking mouth. What are you doing?
It makes me rage.
It's like when I don't even like it if I have like a stuffy nose. It's like I don't even want to eat food because I don't want to hear myself smack.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a thing. It's a real thing. It's a real mental thing.
It's nails on a chalkboard. It's like that whole sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should start recording. We've
We've been recording. Yeah, we're a minute.
Oh, hi guys.
Oh, you're there.
Oh, hi.
Well, welcome. I didn't see you come in. We were just having a discussion about ASMR and how we don't like it. It's not for us.
We don't like it.
Welcome to Unsung Sluts. I'm Stacie.
And I'm Tabitha.
And that's what we're going to do today.
And we
is
don't
talk
like
about,
ASMR.
We do not like ASMR. My son and I, we have like really strong misophonia. So I can't handle that kind of shit at all.
Yeah.
But if you do, if it works for you, awesome.
Cool
Keep
for
doing
you.
it. Just keep it away.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So what are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about women who have overcome disabilities, which as I was doing research, like I really grew to hate the term disability because I'm reading about all of these people who achieve greatness just as much as any able-bodied person does. On a personal level, my niece has CP, cerebral palsy, and she walks normally. She had physical therapy. It's not a deterrent.
Right.
And I think that I'm dyslexic, which is also called a learning disability, but I'm hella smart. So obviously,
These
it didn't
disabilities
hold
don't
me
have
back.
anything to do with that.
No, and that's the thing. Like the word disability, it's
I like differently abled.
yeah, I agree. And in fact, like personally, I think that my learning difference makes me stronger. I mean, not everybody can read upside down and backwards. So
You're all Da Vinci.
that's right. I could read that shit. Like people are like, oh, it's so complicated. I mean, if I read Latin or Italian, it'd
That
probably
would
be
help.
easier. I could tell what the letters are.
You're Italian disabled.
Yeah, I'm definitely Italian disabled.
Cool.
And modestly French-abled, but only...
A little bit, yeah.
Un peu.
Un peu.
Yeah.
I want to go first. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, that's
I don't
okay.
think I've gone first in a while.
It's
I know
been a
you're
while.
excited.
I'm super excited.
I'm super excited
Yeah.
too. Okay. Well,
But yeah,
your
you can go
excitement.
first. You can go first.
Okay. I'm going to tell you about Haben Girma. Okay.
Okay.
She was born July 29th, 1988 in Oakland, California.
Kelly.
Her mother was a refugee from Eritrea, and her father was born in Ethiopia,
Where's Eritrea?
near Ethiopia.
Okay.
In fact, there's evidently some kind of Civil War border skirmishes that in my research, I didn't get real far into. Mm-hmm. But her mother is a refugee from there.
So she had to...
So take that as read as not, at least when she left, not a great place.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. But her parents, they met and married whilst in California.
Okay.
She has a brother who is 6 years older than she. And Haben was born deaf-blind. Mm-hmm. She was born that way. So this isn't a disabled, like, injury type of thing. And actually, so was her older brother. Her older brother is also deaf-blind. He was born in Eritrea. And he did not have a lot of support as far as education goes. There were deaf schools there, which actually kind of surprised me. I don't know why I was surprised by that, but they do have deaf schools there, and they have blind schools, but they don't have deaf-blind schools. So he never really found a place that could cater to his specific needs for education. But that's different in California, thanks to the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act. Do you know what year the ADA came into existence for us? It became a law.
I feel like it's really early because of Helen Keller. Like, I feel like there's like a...
Dude, I was in high school.
What?
It's the
That's
American
fucked.
Disabilities
Really?
Act of 1990.
Oh, no. 1990?
90.
Oh my God, that's way... I was thinking like
was a junior
80
in
years
high
before
school.
that, but no.
No.
That's insane.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Come
so
on,
that-
America.
So that was like rage-inducing when I read that. I was like, wiki, like squeaking my eyeballs. What?
Yeah. Wow.
So what this law does and still does is protect people against discrimination based on a person's disability. And it made rules and laws about accessibility for all people. So Haben, she's always been in California school system. She was born in 88. So when she was in the school system, the ADA applied to everything concerning her. So from the beginning of her schooling, she had access to accessible technology. And that's a term for it, it's technology that makes maybe your everyday life more accessible to you if you have a disability or if you're differently abled. In her case, it's a digital braille device.
Nice.
So it's really cool. Like you, Tabitha, could type on it, and then with her device, it would read as braille.
Yeah.
And she could hear / know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Not hear, obviously, but get what you're saying.
My grandma was able to take advantage of this. She went blind in her later years.
Oh,
and
okay.
like took classes at the Braille Institute and had to learn to read Braille, and
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Your grandma was so great.
she was pretty dope.
Yeah, she's rad. So this device, as well as special classes in school, which the ADA says you have to accommodate. So she got these special classes that taught her Braille. And because of this, it was possible / easier for her to remain in mainstream public schools.
That's cool.
Like, be, I hate this word, but a normal kid.
Yeah.
I think that's a fucked way to say it, but I don't know how else to say it. But she was just in a regular public school classes. Her brother didn't receive these when he was growing up. So he didn't receive the adequate services until he was about 12. But then once he got it, his education took off and he thrived as well.
That's excellent.
So there's a happy ending for that. At the age of 15, Haben traveled to Mali to do some volunteer work. She was building schools with a group called Build On. It's an international nonprofit organization that they also build schools here in United States, but in developing countries as well. They strive to, quote, break the cycle of poverty, illiteracy, and low expectations.
Nice.
So that's what Build On does. Haben attended Lewis and Clark College. It's a private liberal arts college in Portland, Oregon, where she found that she had to be her own advocate when it came to accommodations there, especially in the school cafeteria. Mm-hmm. So basically what happened was this. She would walk through the cafeteria line and she would just hold out her plate and they would fill it up. And she never really knew what she was getting. Sometimes it's okay. Other times not so much. It was basically a surprise.
Wow.
And, you know, you and I could walk around a cafeteria and say, okay, I want that sandwich. I want, you know, that Jell-O. But she really couldn't. It's whatever they kind of slopped on her plate. So she brought this up with the cafeteria managers, and they said that they would email her the daily food choices so that she could actually read it on her Braille machine and know what was being offered that day. But they always got busy, and they would forget to do it. I don't think they were being assholes. It wasn't like a part of their job, so they didn't do it. So she also felt like she didn't want to press this issue because...
Was she the only student at the school?
Yeah, she was. And she was like, look, I have food.
Yeah.
I'm not starving. People all over the world are actually starving. It's not a tragedy.
Yeah, because this is like a socially conscious young woman
like
who has seen
first world
real poverty
right?
and
exactly.
yeah,
she's woke as fuck about this stuff.
Right.
And she's like, I'm not getting chocolate cake.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Like,
cry about it.
what the hell?
Yeah.
But then she also realized if she was not having access and no one was making these accommodations, then other students with disabilities would face similar issues. So she told the managers about the reasonable accommodations part of the ADA, and they started providing her better access to the menu. And then the following year, another blind student started attending school there, and those provisions were already in place.
Nice.
And it's kind of what she did, paying it forward. She graduated from Lewis and Clark, magna cum laude, in 2010. From there, she attended Harvard fucking law school.
Nice.
Yeah.
Killing it.
This badass woman competed on the Harvard ballroom dance team.
What? That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. She loves to dance.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not, right?
That's awesome.
She became the first deaf-blind student to attend and graduate from Harvard Law School. She earned her JD in 2013. After Harvard, she worked for the Disability Rights Advocates in Berkeley, California. This is a civil rights law firm that deals mostly with areas of disability. While working for the DRA in 2014, she represented the National Federation of the Blind and a blind Vermont resident in a lawsuit against, I think it's called Scribed. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a digital library ebook subscription service? Okay. So the lawsuit alleged that Scribed failed to provide access to blind readers in violation of the ADA. Scribe tried to get the case dismissed, arguing that the ADA only applied to physical locations, like brick and mortar type of stores, like actual locations. In March 2015, the U.S. District Court of Vermont ruled that the ADA covered online businesses as well.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of our life is now done online.
Yeah.
And it should be accessible.
That's groundbreaking as far as like the impact that will have overall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A settlement agreement was reached, and Scribed agreed to provide content accessible to blind readers by the end of 2017. And I looked into it, and it seems that they did.
Nice.
Because now we can look back and say, well, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
On their website, you can find their commitment to accessibility.
Nice.
In like their FAQs. At Scribed, we're committed to our subscribers, whether you're using assistive technologies like a screen reader, a magnifier, voice recognition software, or switch technology, or if you find that you have other accessibility needs, we believe all of our subscribers should be able to access and use our services via our website and mobile website, because we embrace the values of diversity and inclusion in all that we do. Our mission is to make Scribe the choice for reading leisure for all individuals.
Since we got sued.
Right, but I also don't want to shit on. I mean,
No,
okay,
no,
they had
it's great
to.
that they did it,
had to,
but yeah.
it also, hopefully, they've also embraced it and not just begrudgingly. And they have made site changes, like their site structure. They found text equivalents. They have full keyboard access, and they're trying to make their site consistent no matter how you view it, whether you're on mobile or desktop.
That's nice.
Okay, so yeah, stuff like that.
So good job.
Sure, but it's because she...
Yeah. But it's
she
the
got
same
this.
reason. I mean, there are only ramps at businesses because of the ADA. People didn't
Right.
go out of their way to help these people for a long time.
Yeah, till 1990.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
And in other countries, I have a friend who spent a lot of time in Japan, and in Japan, you don't see people in wheelchairs because they stay home.
Oy,
Yeah.
that's not cool.
It's not cool.
In 2013, Haben was recognized by the Obama administration as a champion of change.
Nice.
Yeah. In 2014, she gave an amazing TED Talk, TED Baltimore. She even confronted TED for not readily providing captions for all of their recorded TED Talks, even her own. It's like, hey, step it up. It's not enough
Nice.
to just have me here.
Yeah.
Everyone has to be able to see that I'm here, right?
Yeah.
In 2015, Girma was appointed to the National Board of Trustees for the Helen Keller Services for the Blind. July 20th, 2015, in honor of the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, Haben met with U.S. President Barack Obama at the White House to talk
Nice.
about the importance of accessible technology. And she also provided the introductory remarks. She gave a little bit of a talk and then introduced Biden and Barack. And
That's
they came
cool.
in. And there's video of her interacting with Obama. And it's so fucking wholesome and sweet and cool. And just rad. The entire video is so cool. In 2016, she left the DRA to take up non-litigation advocacy full-time. In the same year, in June of that same year, she gave a talk on accessible design at the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference.
Cool.
2016, she was Forbes 30 Under 30 for Law and Policy. In
Nice.
2016, also top 30 thinkers under 30 from the
Wow.
Pacific Standard. In her spare time, Haben has enjoyed participating in physical activities, including surfing, rock climbing, kayaking, cycling, and dancing. And she has an amazing seeing eye dog named Milo. He's
Cool.
gorgeous, gorgeous dog. She has said that one of the reasons she became a lawyer was to help increase access to books and other digital information to people with disabilities. Her hope is to change attitudes about disability around the world, not just here, including the development of accessible digital services. This is a quote from her. Digital information is just ones and zeros. It can be converted into any kind of format. And those people who develop these services, programmers, technology designers, they have an incredible power to increase access for people with disabilities. And I hope they use it.
That's cool.
Right. And by the way, a little sidebar, small sidebar. Today, her brother travels around California and teaches people with disabilities how to use accessible technology,
That's
like the
awesome.
device, to help him and his sister. Now, she has something on her website in the FAQs. That's, what advice do you have for journalists writing about people with disabilities? And I kind of feel like we're not journalists, but our
kind
voices are
of.
out there.
Yeah.
So I thought I would tell about how she wants people to report about disabilities, since we're kind of reporting.
Yeah,
about
and this kind of
disabilities.
goes to how we were even discussing like the word disability.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just taking this directly from her site because she can say it better than I ever could paraphrase it. Challenge yourself to create a disability story without using the word inspiration. The overuse of the word, especially for the most trivial things, has dulled its meaning. People sometimes even use the word as a disguise for pity. For example, you inspire me to stop complaining about my problems because I should feel grateful I don't have yours. Messages that perpetuate the us versus them hierarchies contribute to marginalization. Engage audiences by moving beyond the inspiration cliche. Harmful messages we should avoid. Number one, non-disabled people should feel grateful they don't have disabilities. This perpetuates hierarchies of us versus them, continuing the marginalization. Successful people, this is number two, successful people with disabilities overcame their disabilities. When the media portrays the problem as the disability, society is not encouraged to change. The biggest barrier exists not in the person, but in the physical, social, and digital environment. People with disabilities and their communities succeed when the community decides to dismantle digital, attitudinal, and physical barriers. And the third one, flat, one-dimensional portrayals of people with disabilities. Stories that reduce a person just as a disabled person encourages potential employers, teachers, and other community members to similarly reduce the person to just a disability. I see this a lot.
Yeah.
We are all diverse and participate in multiple communities. The flat story actually makes it harder to participate in many communities. And here's the messages that we should send. We respect and admire disabled leaders just as we respect and admire our non-disabled leaders. We can always find alternative techniques to reach goals and accomplish tasks. These creative solutions are equal in value to mainstream solutions. And we're all interdependent and go further when we support each other. I found this really great article by Claire B. Potter, maybe a relation to you, professor of history at the New School for Public Engagement, New York, in an article about Carolyn Russo. This woman, Russo, is a psychotherapist, a feminist, artist, longtime disability rights activist who also happens to have cerebral palsy. And what she said, the article tells how Russo pointed out that it's not uncommon to have complete strangers who know none of these things about her go out of their way to tell her that their presence in, say, Rite Aid is an inspiration to them. Having the courage to leave the house, she said pointedly, is a pretty low bar. I know. If you were me, you would never leave the house and maybe even kill yourself. So I'm an inspiration because I haven't killed myself yet. Navigating an able-bodied world that doesn't want to see her, much less deal with who she is or what she thinks, is an obstacle as real as her disability. She says, I put up with the barriers, the barricades, the bullshit you put between us to avoid confronting something, probably yourself, she writes, and still pay the rent on time and savor dark chocolate. Now, that takes real courage. You can follow Haben on Twitter and Instagram at her name, at Haben Girma, HABENGRIAM. You should check out her posts about how Apple Accessibility is teaching kids with disabilities to code.
That's awesome.
Which gives me chills down my leg as I say that.
Opening coding to everybody that's the wave of the future.
Yep.
That's the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. And then these kids can go forth and make more accessible technology, perhaps.
That's right.
It's super exciting stuff. And on her Instagram, you can see videos of her surfing in Hawaii. It's not that inspirational. It's just a video of an amazing woman doing a sport that makes her happy.
I find anybody who can stand up on a surfboard inspirational, regardless.
Right. Regardless.
Like, that's anyone who can do that impresses me.
This video is super sweet because Milo, her dog, is still on the beach and he's watching her.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was on the board. I was surfing dog.
No. Well, there's those.
There are.
And you can learn more, and you should learn more on her website, www.habengirma.com, because she's rad.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
See, and you know, to what she says, what I hear is the story of a child of a refugee who came to our country and made it better. You know, like she was differently abled and she had challenges that not everybody has, but what she did was see a problem and fix it.
Yeah.
And that is inspirational. Any person who sees a way to make our society stronger and better and does it.
Yeah.
That's killer. Like that's, you know, we were talking earlier, like that's the point.
Yeah.
We're tiny, insignificant specks in the vastness of the universe, you know?
Yeah.
And if we can make somebody's life better, that's the point. That's like the whole purpose of us being here.
Exactly.
You know?
Absolutely.
So go her.
Yeah, and she's still out there.
And she's young. She's a baby.
Young.
She has like still lots, I'm sure, ahead of her to do.
Oh, of course.
To like, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm really glad to hear that her brother also was able to benefit from moving
too.
here and getting access to what everyone should have access to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I told you that he's out there doing great stuff too.
Yeah. That's
No,
excellent.
she's amazing. I hope that she comes and like speaks in LA because I would love to go.
Yeah.
She speaks.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
like, because
she-
she was born deaf. So speaking is it's a challenge. Helen Keller was able to do it because she had heard speech before she lost her hearing.
Like she was like 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what Haben does, I read a little thing about it. She speaks in a higher register because then she can kind of hear it. She can hear stuff in kind of the higher register.
So she does have some limited
Very
hearing.
limited.
Does she have limited vision as well, like shadows or?
Maybe.
Interesting. It's interesting also that she and her brother both were born with this same condition. So I'm wondering if it's like maybe like a genetic thing.
I would have to think so,
Yeah, I would imagine.
right? Because that's
Yeah.
pretty rare.
Yeah. For them both to be born that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But good for them, killing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not doing
It
any of that.
We're doing what we can.
That's right.
with what we have.
Exactly.
That's it.
With our own limited abilities. But it's interesting too that you mentioned the woman that I'm going to talk about also took issue with being referred to. She used the term cripple for herself occasionally to sell products because she was a businesswoman. But
Okay.
ultimately, as she grew older, she kind of got annoyed that was like a focus that people were like, oh, and look what she overcame. And she was like, I just did what any person does
Right.
when faced with any kind of challenge. Any person who's faced with challenge generally will rise to the occasion and succeed, you know, I guess, or die. I don't know. Like the alternative is
Right.
like, but she was basically like, I just did what a person should do
Right.
when faced with any kind of challenge. So, but should I start? Should I
Yeah,
start?
go ahead. Yeah. it's your turn.
So I'm going to talk about a mermaid.
Oh,
today.
are you?
I have been a fan of this woman for something that she did that's a fashion thing that she
Okay.
did.
Cool.
And I actually wasn't aware that she had had any kind of challenges in her early life because I only knew her for this one thing.
That's what I love
and-
about this podcast, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
we may bring up someone, like you knew Haben's name,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't know,
I
like,
knew
all
she
of
had
that.
I only knew because she was not sighted that she was the first person that was not sighted and had no hearing that had graduated from Harvard, and that's all I knew
Okay.
about her.
That's
and
what I
that's
like
only
about
because my
this.
grandma had lost her sight, and so I learned a lot
Oh,
about
okay.
people who didn't have their sight. That community.
That still kicked ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was always telling me stories about, oh, look at this person and look at this
Yeah,
story
that's
and look at this
cool.
story because she had been sighted and lost her sight.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, she needed that to
Yeah,
kind of stay
yeah.
positive because it's a different situation.
that.
Yeah. So she took a lot of, and Helen Keller's always been, you know, I just think she's fucking rad, you know.
Haben had issues early on because people would say, "Oh, you're just like Helen Keller," and
Yeah.
she's like, "No, I'm just like Haben."
Yeah.
And so for a long time, she said she didn't really embrace the whole Helen Keller thing.
Yeah.
But
I
then
can
she
imagine
turned
that's
and
like,
she does.
yeah, I can imagine that would be annoying.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm my own person, but thanks
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So I am going to talk about Annette Kellerman.
Okay.
And,
again, I know the name and
okay.
I know what
So-
she did, but I didn't do a deep dive.
Okay. So Annette Kellerman was the first mermaid. She's the first mermaid. So if you're into mermaids, I love mermaids. I think mermaids are amazing. I'm not talking about like actual mermaids that live in the ocean like Ariel because they don't exist. I hate to break it to you guys.
What?
Spoiler alert. But mermaids do exist. Mermaids are generally super athletic, amazing men and women, because there are some mermen out there who wear tails and swim in tanks and they kick ass. They are free divers. They can hold their breath for like 4 minutes.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking super strong. There are a couple free divers that can actually breach, which is like takes incredible leg strength and like lower back strength. They can actually like pump and breach the water like a dolphin. Like it's insane. They're
That's
super
crazy.
athletes. So I find them really amazing. Also, like some of them are like super hot. So
yeah.
I'm going to tell you about the first one. So
Okay.
Annette Kellerman was born in Marrickville, New South Wales, Australia on July 6th, 1887. when she was about 6 years old, she either had undiagnosed polio, which was kind of a trend I saw when I was looking into this and looking for someone to talk about. A lot of people had polio. Hashtag vaccinate your kids. She either had polio. She ultimately, years later, or like a year later, she was diagnosed with rickets, which was also something that was prevalent in the 1800s.
That's a double whammy.
Yeah. So, well, she either lost the use of her legs because of polio, which was undiagnosed, or because of rickets, or because of both. But she also never had children, so I think that it's more likely she had polio. Because then she didn't.
How does polio not go diagnosed? How does it go undiagnosed?
Because you can just be sick. It affects people differently. Like some people can have the mumps and not really have the same kind of symptoms as other people.
Oh, okay.
So it's possible. There's a lot of speculation that what she had suffered from was polio, and that they just thought she was severely ill. And then later a doctor diagnosed her with rickets.
Okay.
She was also a lifelong vegetarian, so I don't know if that was a diet that was put on her by her parents, which could
Interesting.
Vitamin D deficiency, I don't know, because rickets is a vitamin D deficiency,
Right. Yeah.
So either way, she had minimal use of her legs, so she had to wear braces on her legs. This was kind of a diagnosis where most of the kids who had this condition would just wear braces for the rest of their life.
Sure.
Franklin Roosevelt was one of these people who suffered from polio and lost use of his legs and used a wheelchair and braces for the remainder of his life.
Yeah, I
and
did.
Actually, she meets him at one point in her life.
Oh,
she
yeah.
did meet him. A doctor recommends to her parents that to help strengthen her legs, she should do physical therapy. Now, this is decades, or not decades, but like well before the advent of physical therapy as actual therapy, which didn't really take off until the 1920s. But this doctor recommended ahead of his time that she try aquatherapy, which is swimming, to strengthen her legs. And she killed it. So she describes going to the classes. So her parents enrolled her at the Cavil's Bath in Sydney. They moved so that she would have access to swimming. And she said, "Dad took me to Cavil's Bath in Sydney to learn to swim. Each day we would walk with my brother and sister through the beautiful botanical gardens, and I was awfully scared and did not learn quickly. But Mr. Percy Cavil, who was my teacher, never frightened me, and so I soon lost all my fear." So she didn't just lose all her fear. By the age of 13, she could walk without the braces, and her weakness was almost undetectable. She always had a little bit, even in videos, you can see the shape of her leg is a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Because her musculature the strength in her legs comes from swimming, not from walking. So she could walk because of the swimming, but so her muscle build is a little different. Strong ass thighs, like damn. So
Michael Phelps.
Yeah. So at the age of 13, by the age of 13, she didn't have to use the braces anymore. And by 15, she was kicking everyone's ass. Talk about
great.
Michael Phelps. In 1902, Kellerman won the ladies 100-yard and miles championship in New South Wales with record times of 1 minute 22 seconds and 33 minutes 49 seconds respectively. In the same year, her parents moved her to Melbourne so that she could attend the Menton's Girls Grammar School, which was kind of like an expensive school. So her mom took a position teaching music there also so that she could attend this school.
Okay.
And she continued to swim because that was where she had her strength. So the school was kind of expensive though. And so she and her sister went around looking for a job. So they happened to go to the local aquarium, and Kellerman had an idea of a way that she could perform and make money. And so she went to the people who ran the aquarium and suggested that she perform as a mermaid.
Oh, that's so cool.
In the tank. And they agreed, and she became the first mermaid. She made her own tails, And she actually designed her own swimsuits, which becomes kind of a big deal later in her story.
Well, and that's what I know her
Yeah,
from.
and that's what I knew her from.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, that's my brand of feminism, like,
Exactly.
you know. So her mom wasn't, like, super happy because she was swimming in these big tanks. It wasn't, she didn't really care. Her mom was French, so she wasn't, like, super uptight about, like, her swimsuits or anything. But she wasn't really, like, up on the idea that her daughter was swimming with seals and eels because she jumped in the tanks. Like, she swam in the tanks with these other animals dressed as a mermaid. Right?
Do you
So
think
cool.
that's like just totally mind fucked people who are just like, oh, I guess they are real.
Oh, it's just it's a mermaid. And I mean,
Damn.
people loved it. They ate it up
Oh,
because
I
it's
bet.
like, also she's 15. So she's like this lovely young woman with her beautiful tick, like swimming with the seals.
Yeah,
And just like, oh, I can imagine. So great. So in 1904, she keeps pushing herself. She sets goals for herself and she achieves them. So she becomes known as a mermaid. And her father moves her to England and acts as her manager so that she can continue to tour. She also ends up diving into the Thames and swimming a section of the Thames. And they were like, this is a girl.
Yeah.
What is she, like, guys don't even do this. This is insane.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, this is also, by the way, she's dressed as a mermaid. Like, she's still dressing as a mermaid. She's the fucking mermaid in the Thames. So she's doing stunts and performing and is just loving swimming. Like, this becomes her entire life. So she decides in 1905 at the age of 19 that she's going to swim the English Channel. She's not the first woman to do this. Another woman had done this already, but she decided that she was going to do it. So she had 3 failed attempts. And she said, I had the endurance, but I did not have the brute strength. Because, like I said, her strength came from swimming. And so her other aspects of her body were not as strong as if she had been, not been affected
Polio
by.
affects the arms too. I know it affects like the
It's
lungs.
muscles,
Just
like, so I don't think
body wide though.
Yeah, I think it's specifically her weakness was in her legs, but the fact that she never had children and then had difficulty, there were certain strokes that she knew, but she wasn't as strong. So I think that and again, like, there wasn't a lot of like diagnosis going on.
Sure.
It was just
Okay.
kind of like, she didn't make it across the channel, but then she did later defeat the woman who did in a different challenge. So she challenged the woman who actually had swum the channel and defeated her in some other challenge. So it was kind of like, I didn't do this one, but I still beat her.
Yeah.
So, and that was actually the only time that she set up a challenge for herself and then didn't succeed.
Okay.
So everything else she did was amazing. So at this time, she's touring the world as a mermaid. She's being touted as the Australian mermaid. So she also popularized synchronized swimming, which actually she is credited with the invention of synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
In 1907, she is performing in Boston. She's come to the States and she's performing in Boston. And she wants to go out for a swim. So she goes out to the beach in her super slutty one piece that comes just above her knee and gets arrested
Oh, yes.
for indecency,
Yes.
she says. But she said, there is nothing more liberating than swimming. All of life's shackles washed away with the waves. And in that moment, when she was arrested, she realized that other women were just as shackled as she had been. They didn't have braces, but they had giant fucking pantaloon nonsense swimsuits that they had to wear.
Exactly.
And they couldn't swim. So the only reason that she was breaking records and making waves was because she didn't care about what she was wearing.
Right.
So she decided she was going to market her swimsuits. This isn't like, she's like 21 at this point or something.
Yeah.
Like, this is a young woman who is just like killing it in the world.
Has a bunch of life experience.
She's straight up a mermaid. Like, she totally embodies mermaidness.
Right.
So she starts marketing her bathing suit. She adds a modesty panel so that it's like a little bit of a skirt.
Okay.
To cover up, because it's the booty curves. They don't want to see the booty curves. It's like too much. Boys can't handle it.
Oh my
so
God.
she adds a modesty
but
panel.
The men's bathing suits at this time were also
basically
like tank top
Yes.
onesies,
which
right?
is what she was wearing, basically. Okay. Like what she was wearing.
Was her a tank top or was it long sleeve?
It had like a little bit of a sleeve, like just more than a cap sleeve, but not a full arm. And it came just above the knees, very similarly to how the men's suits were.
Yeah.
So her shoulders were covered, her bottom was covered, her stomach was covered, her bosom was covered. But her knees were showing, so it's too much.
Okay.
So she added a modesty panel, which was like a little bit of a skirt, so that it's like less curvy. And she started marketing
ass just disappeared.
It did.
She had an ass, and now it's gone.
It's gone. So don't worry, it's not there. You don't have to think about it.
She has no ass at all.
That's funny. So the Kellerman, which is what they called it, basically paved the way for our modern swimsuit. And later, women there are a couple of other women who later get arrested when the bikini comes out. And they also, again, this is my brand of feminism. I'm very much like, you wear what you want to wear. And if you want to wear a string bikini and have your tatas out, you just go for it.
Can you imagine Kellerman like time traveling and ending up in like Miami Beach 2019?
I think
seeing the styles.
I think she'd be cool with it.
Oh, absolutely.
I
That's
would
what
love
I'm
for
saying.
her. Yeah, I would love for her to
it's
see.
Like, this is what you started.
Yeah, I would
mean,
love
in
for
a
her to
good
see
way,
the modern.
In a very,
No, yeah, like this is.
Yeah.
I can swim freely with like if I want to, if I choose to, because of her. And not only that, but I would love for her to see the modern mermaids.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, there are a lot of like mermaid pods out there. They're called pods.
Of course
They're freaking rad. And their tails are like gorgeous I mean, they're mermaids. They look like they're freaking
school,
mermaids.
Right? Weren't you looking at
There's
that
a
school
school
for Hannah?
Yes. I got super excited because I found a place where Hannah could take classes, and they don't just do regular standard mermaid classes. They do speed swimming. They do deep free diving, this is where Kellerman really made her mark. She had an extremely long-term breath hold, which is something that free divers have to work up for. So free divers hyperventilate. They fill up their lungs with oxygen so that they can hold their breath for an extended period underwater, which personally, I did a little scuba and some free diving, and I prefer free diving because I don't like the constriction of scuba. But it is something that you have to learn. So she had a 3-minute breath hold, which at the time, especially for a young woman, was exceptional.
Sure.
So it allowed her, now modern mermaids will use tubes and stuff, but most of them are free divers, so they have to have a substantial breath hold. There's one pod that I follow on Facebook, and I'll try and remember to link them. Okay. And one of their mermaids has a 4-minute breath hold.
Wow.
Yeah. These are athletes. They're gorgeous and they have amazing tails and stuff, but like, they're athletes. Mermaids are freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
So, she becomes a vaudeville star, and she's performing on stage and everything. She is a champion for women. She fights for their rights to wear whatever they want to wear. So she is touring around as a vaudeville star, and her father, who had been managing her, hired a new manager, this guy Jimmy Sullivan.
Okay.
Sullivan handled bookings and was supposed to keep distracting men at bay because we're dealing with like a beautiful young mermaid here. What ended up happening was her father passed away, and she and Sullivan fell in love. So, maybe should have got a female manager. I don't know. They tour around, and she starts really putting her attention into selling her swimsuits, and that the controversy of her arrest helped to sell suits.
Oh, good.
But it also drew the attention of a Harvard University professor named Dudley Sargent. who propositioned her to be able to study her body.
Oh, wow.
And he believed that she was the first ever perfectly formed woman.
What?
Like, yeah, he believed that her proportions were perfect, that like this was the shape that all women were destined to be. Like,
wow. Did she have any, I don't want to say malformations. Did the polio change her body and or body shape, or is he just talking about she has 0% body fat and
I
a
think
BMI
it's, you know what, I think honestly it was that he had never actually seen a woman, because she was one of the first people to go out in a body formed suit.
Yeah, no shit.
So he had never really seen the shape of a woman before and was like, oh, hey, she looks like a painting. Oh, guess what? That's what we all look like under our freaking corset, pantaloon, whatever they're wearing.
Nonsense.
Yeah. He pulled her on stage in front of students in her bathing suit and showed this is the shape of a perfectly formed woman. And if you look at pictures of her, there is some interesting definition in her leg muscles, which you can see because she's wearing a slutty bathing suit, which I think is just a matter of not only did her strength come from swimming, but ultimately she's spending most of her time swimming like a mermaid. So the shape of her muscle in her leg is a little bit different because of the muscles that you're using. But also you have to have incredible core strength, and she was very buxom considering. And so she does, I mean, when you see her, she does look like Venus de Milo, which is basically what he was saying, is that she had the shape of Venus de Milo. She's like a perfect representation of femininity. But she, much like she didn't really appreciate people focusing on her early challenges, she also didn't want to be known as just another pretty fish, which is how she put it.
Yeah.
And I was like, another pretty fish? But anyway, I guess there were a lot of pretty fishes out there. She definitely has a rack. Oh yeah, she was solid, like boom and bam. It was like ba-boom and ba-boom boom. Yeah.
No, she's really pretty.
Yeah. Gorgeous. And you know, even as she grew older, still just a very fit, attractive woman.
Yeah, that's it. She looks like she could be from 2019, you know, in different clothes, just a very fit.
Yeah. Which, I mean, she was she credited a lot of that to her diet. She was a lifelong vegetarian. She swam every day. And I think that probably...
That'd do it.
Yeah. Healthy lifestyle. She was also a teetotaler, so she never drank. She never smoked. Exercised every day. So I think that, you know, you put that together with like a good set of genes and you're probably set.
Yeah.
So she ended up, she married Sullivan in 1914, and she kind of branched from her vaudevillian act into movies. Yes. And this coincided with an accident that happened while she was performing in a tank. So now the tanks are mostly plexi or like a specially formulated glass and stuff so that they don't break. But at the time, big tanks were just glass. They were just big glass tanks. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so she and a fellow performer were badly injured when their tank blew.
Oh, shit.
Basically. And so she suffered an injury. She was cut along the side of her body. And then...
Oh, my God.
It's
that's
interesting.
Horrible.
So I could only find newspaper clippings about it. No one's really written about it. So I found 2 separate newspaper clippings about the incident. And in one of them, it says that they took her to a hotel, not a hospital. And I'm like, that's weird.
Sketchy?
I don't know. So one of them did say that they took her to a hospital. The other guy the guy that was performing with her was more severely injured. And I think he actually rolled to try and like get her out of the way of the glass. But she did suffer an injury and then basically stopped swimming in tanks and became a movie star. Her first movie was Neptune's Daughter, and her mother was actually able to see it. She kind of disapproved of a lot of the like playing around with animals and stuff because she was like, you shouldn't be swimming with sea lions and whatever. But she did approve of it before she passed away. The next movie that she was in 1916,
Daughter of the Gods.
was A Daughter of the Gods.
I know
yes.
about this one.
This movie was the first movie to cost over $1 million. And she was the first Hollywood actress to go tatas out.
Yeah, she's the first male or female.
Yes.
She's the first nude.
First nude.
In a mainstream Hollywood picture.
Yep, exactly. The first one to do full frontal. Well, it was not full frontal. I don't think her bush was in it.
No, and I think her hair kind of covered a lot of her boobs.
It's so innocent compared to anything that you've seen, like on Skinemax or anything. Like you're just like,
but this is 1916.
1916, and it's very tastefully done. And she looks like
gorgeous.
a goddess. I mean, she looks like
Eve.
Yeah.
Right? If you just look at her.
Exactly.
Oh, it's called Daughter of the Gods. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, she's exactly. Yeah. So this movie also starred 150 other mermaids, all who were trained by Kellerman. And this is where Kellerman really came like full circle with the synchronized swimming. Mm-hmm. She taught them routines. She trained them inside and out of the pool. She was like the head of that. Like all of the choreography and everything was all Kellerman for this movie. So she managed a pod of 150 mermaids. And she did all her own stunts, which included swimming with crocodiles.
Holy shit.
Actual, real life, alive, all their teeth in their mouth crocodiles.
Right. But, I mean, do you remember seeing pictures of the L.A.
Alligator farm? The alligator farm, where people are just like riding on them and like,
toddlers playing with them.
Yeah. And for the most part, crocodiles and alligators are like lizards. So like you can have a lizard and you can hang out with a lizard, but if you piss it off or it gets super hungry, it'll bite you.
Right.
And crocodiles and alligators are the same way. So like if it's really well fed and it's not scared, it's a guy
has an emotional support alligator. Did you see that?
I saw that. That guy is
he cuddles. They do cuddles.
They do cuddles. And I had lizards.
Me too.
And they do cuddles. They like warm bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're a hot rock at that moment.
And they're okay with being petted and everything. Yeah. But even if I had a Uromastyx and they're vegetarian, you piss off a Uromastyx and it's still going to bite you.
Anything with the mouth.
Yeah. So
if you piss it off, it's going to bite you.
Yeah. So she did all of her own stunts, and at this point, she started to move away even from movies. She was getting older and turning into a grown-up woman, and she was offered a 5-movie deal with Fox, but she turned it down. She instead took back to the stage. Mm-hmm. She also gave lectures on fitness and health, which was unique to the fact that she was a woman. And so she saw a void that women were not being given options. They weren't being given options with, access to their physical being.
Sure.
So she was the first woman to write a fitness book.
Oh, that's cool.
She wrote Physical Beauty, How to Keep It.
Oh.
She designed and marketed her first swimsuit. She was the first woman to provide other women with exercises that they could do at home to build strength, not just to look good, but to become stronger. So she toured with Grace Kelly and Coco Chanel. In 1937, when the theater sales kind of went down and there were other younger mermaids out there, she started to really push exercise and actually advised President Roosevelt and taught him exercises to strengthen his legs.
Yeah.
Did
she ever teach Esther Williams?
I don't know if they worked together, but I know that Esther Williams was inspired by her.
Must be, right?
Yeah. Because she was
doing the same.
She's the number one mermaid.
Yeah.
In 1939, she returned to Australia, and people would joke that she would jump into shark-infested waters to go swim to do her shopping. So she kind of like she still had that kind of like mermaid mythos surrounding
sure,
her.
yeah.
There was a movie made, $1 Million Mermaid, a biography of her life. She accepted the movie. She said that it was okay. She didn't really care much for the swimsuits that they put the character in. Like, even for her, she was like, oh, it's a little bit too much. You know, there's a little, I think it was the cleave. She was like a little too much cleavage for her taste. So she also owned a health food store in Long Beach, California for a little while.
Wow.
And then in her older age, she returned to the Gold Coast, and where she passed away in 1975.
Wow,
And
75.
yeah, 75. And there are videos and pictures of her well into her 70s of her just like, look how flexible I still am. And she's just like
50 years old.
Yeah.
50.
Exactly. So she never had children, and she just swam every day and didn't eat meat, and her remains were scattered in the Great Barrier Reef. And I feel like
that's appropriate.
that's appropriate. There could be no better resting place for a mermaid, you know?
That's perfect.
Yeah. And so when we post, I found video because she was in movies. So there are you can go see those movies, you know, or well, you can't go see them. There's no old movie houses around anymore playing them, but you have access to them.
Yeah.
So you can see her doing her underwater ballet. And it's really cool if you are a fan of like mer entertainment to see the evolution.
Sure.
And to just like that this woman just had an idea to be and as a 15-year-old girl was like, you know what people would love to see? Mermaids. And then she did it.
And she was right.
And she was right.
She's still right.
She's still right. Like, mermaids are rad.
Yeah.
And they are, you know, it kind of goes to this whole like unsung sluts like a concept for us, you know, is that being a feminist doesn't mean that you have to take away things that are quote unquote girly. It doesn't minimize what it means to be a woman, to be into those things. I fucking love mermaids and fairies and dragons and pixies, and I think it's all amazing, and I love sparkly things, and like that doesn't mean that I can't kick your ass.
Right.
And this woman wore skimpy bathing suits and put on a mermaid tail and killed it in the pool.
Yeah.
You know, and had fucking massive cones to go swim with crocodiles, you know? And just because she was physically beautiful didn't diminish her strength and her power. And that's why I think that Annette Kellerman is fucking dope.
Yeah. So. Annette Kellerman is one of the first names that Chris sent to me.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, for your podcast. Like, seriously, like the second week we were doing this. He's like, I got a name for you.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew who she was.
She's
but
great.
just the surface. I didn't know all that stuff, all the details.
Yeah,
She's really great.
a lot of this stuff was new information to me. The accident. I knew that she had been in the movie, but I didn't know she like swam. I was like, what?
Yeah. I knew she was the first nude actress or actor in a mainstream Hollywood movie, and I knew that she basically invented the female bathing suit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the polio. I didn't know about any of the other stuff.
And I think that speaks to what we're talking about overall today is that those challenges are not relevant. No. You know, I mean, they're relevant to her personal experience and her personal journey. But as far as our appreciation of her,
right?
They shouldn't counter into how we view her. You know,
no, of course
like
not.
I think I'm impressed with her. Anyway,
yeah,
those things are just like, do they make her more impressive? Sure. But would she not be impressive if I didn't know that she had worn braces and it's not at all.
No,
and the same with,
still Haben.
Yeah, the same with Haben. Like what she has done, what she has accomplished is incredible in its own right.
Absolutely.
And her added challenges do make her more impressive, but only in that she has had more to struggle through.
More to overcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because everybody has challenges to their
We all
to
do.
to a degree, but
Right. No, it's so true. And to see that change needed to be made in the world and to go out there and actually do it.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is just an amazing accomplishment. And she's bettered lives for people. Mm-hmm. People with disabilities.
Kellerman bettered your tan line for sure.
For sure.
Because, like, who wants a farmer tan from the beach? Nobody.
No one.
No.
Thank you, Annette Kellerman.
Also,
as if I tan.
you tan a little. You go from like an eggshell to like a snowy white. Is that darker?
No,
than
I
eggshell?
go from
No, you go the other way.
to red. And then I peel back to an eggshell.
Oh,
you know it's true. Oh well.
I know. I'm starting to lose my tan look.
Shut up. It's fucking February. I don't want to hear it. Oh, okay.
Good times.
Good times.
So now I want to go see mermaids.
Yeah, let's look at some mermaid videos when we get done.
Yeah, for sure. Also, if you know any mermaids, because like I was talking about my daughter, that class turned out to be in Canada.
Quite a commute.
Yeah, so not going to make it on Tuesdays there, but I am interested in taking my daughter to go see some mermaids. And a lot of the mermaids that I've looked at, there's like they travel around and stuff. The pod that I follow, they go and do fairs and stuff. Very much like how Kellerman did.
Yeah.
Still in tanks and everything, just like legit OG style.
Wow.
But I'm looking for a place where I can go and that I can take Hannah. There's one place in Vegas, but it's a bar.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't take her.
A lot of the ones I've seen are bars.
Yeah. So if you
I
know of a
I
place.
just saw something on Reddit the other day that was a mermaid in a tank, like at the zoo, you know, when you can go up and like, imagine at the Santa Barbara Zoo, you know, where the meerkats are?
Yeah.
Well, imagine that's all water.
Yeah.
And that's what she was in. So she was swimming around and like looking through the glass and waving to the kids. And then she popped up and gave them all high fives. It was really
so cool.
I'll have to find that video for you.
Yeah. Because, I would love to go see some mermaids. They're very cool. They're cool to watch on the internet, but it'd be even cooler to like meet them.
Yep. Also, I want to give a shout out really quick to Nana, who lives in Denmark, and say hi to her and her boys.
Yes.
Because we love them. And say thank you to her.
Yes. Thank you. This was a great journey for us to go on. And
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we did it. So go out there and no matter what you're dealing with, you know, we're behind you.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Go make the world better. Right?
Yes. That's the whole
just a little
the whole deal.
It doesn't even have to be you don't have to rewrite laws or invent mermaids, you know, just make somebody smile today.
Yes, do that. Start with that. Go
Yeah.
make someone smile, and hopefully that'll make you smile too.
Yeah.
And until we talk to you again, everyone, have a great week. Hang in there and stay slutty.